Hello and welcome to the show that teaches you the things your parents and teachers are too afraid to. The Helios blog. Today, Andrew Tate annihilates disrespectful Brittney Renner. Here we go.
The reason she's alone is because she's difficult.
Women are not accepting the bare minimum.
Women fuck men they respect.
All the women who say things like, I'm strong, independent, I don't need no man, like, y'all impress me.
Women just gaslight each other and say what they want to hear.
By the way, before we get started, I just want to point out some red flags. Okay. Number of tattoos on Brittney. Just watch. On the inner arm, on the outer right arm. Aposomatic hair. And actually the heels are a red flag too. You can see. They're worn down. So she's only putting on the appearance of being well put together. She's not actually... You see what I'm saying? She's on a huge show and she's not dressing to the nines, which is actually a sign of disrespect. But anyway, let's continue.
And desire to have the woman in the foreground.
It would have to be a man comfortable within himself.
See, now that's what
You see, yup. So you need to be on top and he's got to be on the bottom, right?
where I think you ladies become disingenuous.
Okay.
Because being wanting to be in the foreground is fine, but you got to take what comes with that.
Okay.
See, in 1972, go read the book The End of Men and the Richer Sex. Second wave feminism talked about, getting women out in the work world and being successful in this and being CEOs and all this other stuff. That's fine, but guess what? When a man becomes successful, he often has to marry down.
Yeah, he doesn't marry a CEO, a strong, independent woman.
I agree.
Okay, so when a woman
So when you are a strong, independent woman, what do you think is going to happen to you?
gets to that level, you often have to marry down as well. But most women get to that level, and hypergamy means you want a man at your level or higher, and you don't
Indeed.
typically get men who are at that level or higher who don't have leadership characteristics. Now, again, I'm moving athletics, entertainment, and musicians over here because their money comes differently. To get the kind of money and the gravitas and influence, you have to separate yourself. And you don't see many men who separate themselves whose wife in the vice president role is trying to do the State of the Union.
Indeed. Life is not like House of Cards. In fact, even in House of Cards, you see what happens when the wife is like the wife in House of Cards. It's a little bit too realistic, if you ask me.
Rock mate said for the longest, we could never have a black president. Why? Because black women don't like being in the background.
That's funny.
They want to be right up there up front. And that's why I'm like, if that's what you really want, are you really setting yourself?
If that's what you really want, you are then the man, which means you need to marry a girl. I mean, you get what I'm saying. A girly man, a weak man.
That's why I say, if you know what you really want, you want to be in the foreground, that life typically ends up like this. Around about 45 years old, you get your young boy toy.
Indeed.
How is it any different than a man?
It isn't. That's the point. But you've switched roles. There's no children in that.
Because men get their young hot thing.
Well,
their PYT.
Here's the difference.
What is the difference?
Okay, here's the difference. Because, see, one thing I really dislike about our generation, we always do this whataboutism. There are double standards.
Okay.
And you guys take advantage of.
The older you get, the less attractive you get. That's how it goes. You can't be out here saying that you as a 40-year-old girl are going to be comparable to your 20-year-old self. Like, I don't understand what's the difficult thing to understand here.
The double standards, just like you have to take it on both sides. The difference is no life can come out of your situation. A life can still come out of a situation with a man and a younger woman.
I mean, if the woman doesn't desire kids, what's the issue?
Because the man might, you see? But no, it's all about women for you, right?
But that's if she doesn't desire kids. That means that young man, can't have any. So what's the purpose? What's the ultimate purpose of the family unit is to move the line, right?
Yeah, but from Brittney's perspective, she has a kid, so she's moving the family forward, so who cares? Men aren't important.
Can't you still move the pieces forward if you're having that male figure there?
No, not for him. You don't understand. Man, it's extremely disrespectful to say what she's saying.
Still would be a family unit.
No, it wouldn't.
A stepdad, like even with...
No. If you have a child, yes, he'd have to have a child from someone else.
Okay.
Or none. So how do you, so if you, and this is what's starting to happen right now. You're starting to see lots of women in their 40s who are accomplished, who have means or all this other kind of stuff. Either they're freezing their eggs, choosing to become single mothers, because they have more means than the typical middle class woman, or women are choosing to get younger guys. And is there anything wrong with it? No, you just accept what comes along with it. You accept what comes along with it. But one of the things is, doesn't matter what I think or you think, nature looks at it and says, well, this isn't the way nature has it set up.
Yeah, it's literally going counter to nature, right? And there's no way that creates a stable system, right? That will lead to lots of cheating and so on, rampant.
Nature wants us to populate. Mm-hmm. And there's nothing, it's very rare that you can have a 20-something-year-old man and a 40-something-year-old woman having multiple children.
Indeed.
Mm-hmm.
So even if she has means and he has means, once the line ends right there.
Okay.
So
that's fair.
Well,
it's logical.
And here's the thing.
Right, but for Brittney, it's not about logic. It's about my feelings and my truth and my reality. She doesn't care about actual reality.
And this is what I say that for all women. I don't, whatever you want, just accept the outcomes and the possibilities, because you're the freest group of women that have ever lived. You get to make all your choices, but life for men is about choices and trade-offs, and life for women is about choices and trade-offs.
No, you can have it all, girls. You can have it all. You can be a strong, independent queen and also have all the kids you want.
But in my personal opinion, decisions made in fear, scarcity, and lack tend to be wrong-headed decisions because they tend to reside in anxiety and stress. There's no peace there. There's no tranquility. There's no, it doesn't tend to lead to the idyllic ending you're talking about, the matching pajamas and the family. There's family, but it's not what we envision.
Well, one of the things I've learned in therapy is,
here we go.
I have to...
Tats on therapy, single mother.
...to be happy with myself. And I believe that...
What crappy therapist are you going to? It's just another name for a priest, right? You just go to church to make yourself feel better, but you're not actually learning anything that is actually helping you. You're just being further indoctrinated into the wokest religion, which takes you further down the rabbit hole of destroying yourself.
A lot of times when I would go into relationships, I thought it was about, self-sacrifice and putting my needs and wants and desires on the back burner. And the reality is that a man is not a financial plan, and I have to be able to stand on my own 2 feet if I want to be taken seriously by the guy at Best Buy or the guy...
Nope, that's not how that works. That's how women work, Mrs. Solipsism. That's not how men work. Man will not take you seriously if you're a single mommy with tattoos. So, but she is right. If you are a loser guy, even the girl at Best Buy won't respect you. That is true.
Corporate America or whatever. So for me...
Nope.
It's not that I'm building an empire out of fear, because that's going to crumble. I am doing...
You are the master of rationalization, yes.
What I want to do. And I think from fitness to doing a podcast, I care about helping people be honest with themselves, live in your truth, and like you said, accept whatever comes behind your decisions.
Truth.
So you want to be the free-spirited, free the nipple, you can do that, but you have to be intentional and just accept whatever comes with it. So I'm going to be honest, I feel like I'm on a roller coaster.
I feel like...
I have no idea where it ends. I didn't even know, if you would have told me 10 years ago, I'd be sitting on this couch with you, getting to meet all my favorite people, skipping the lines, having opportunities because of my Instagram post, I would say you're crazy. I didn't even know I could have a 10-year run. I didn't know I could make a career out of being beautiful, having a nice body, and opening my mouth, ultimately, you know?
Indeed, opening something.
So I don't know where this ride ends. I feel like I'm stuck in Disney
I feel like...
World, and I don't know how to get out. I don't know where to go.
You're effectively a lady of the night. When that beauty runs out, so does the money. Then what do? Well, you have your child support, I guess, from your basketball player, so that's a nice plan B.
But all I know is, what do I like to do? I like to talk. I like to help people. I'm outspoken. I know that me speaking, there is a message in my mess. I could not be able to help people if I had a perfect life. I don't know.
It's really funny that as she's talking, I'm literally yawning. Because she's like that, you know the teacher from Charlie Brown that just talks and just drones on and on? But while you're listening, you fall asleep. Guys, just play this her talking, like on repeat, and you can go to sleep with it. It's that boring. That much lack of substance.
Why? I feel like I'm being burned at the stake in, present day, but I have to accept what comes with that, because me playing the background, me playing small, me not using my writing abilities to write a book, to speak, because I do this. There's not a lot of beautiful women in my position with my platform.
Not a lot of beautiful narcissists, you mean? Yes.
That can sit here and do this. There's not a
Yes, there are.
lot of women that would even have the courage to sit in front of you.
Making bullshit is a lot easier than refuting bullshit.
So I don't know why I have this strength, where it came from, what I'm gonna do with it.
Narcissist.
I wish I had that answer for you, and I don't know where it's gonna take me. I just have to follow my heart.
Well, I look at...
Did you notice how Kevin rolled his eyes immediately?
As somebody who talks to women, most people don't see is when I'm not on YouTube, I do an average of 3 sessions a day with people around the country, people around the world. And yes, in the short term, everything you're saying is right. But ultimately, we don't sit down and we don't ask ourselves long term, what do we want? How does that look? And we wonder why we don't end up getting where we want to. I just don't think women standing alone is helping anything in the West.
It really isn't. In fact, it's the reverse. Again, let me just put this theory out here because, again, I've repeated this on multiple videos, but here's my theory, okay? So the womanist wokest religion, what it does is it's a dead end genetically, right? So girls that believe it, they just don't reproduce, or they're very bad at reproducing compared to the average girl. And so what happens is the men of the dominant culture, they can't marry or have kids with these girls because they're too strong and independent. So those girls end up alone, and they're just, tax resource for the country. They just raise the GDP. But the problem is that leads to a decline in birth rate, right? Look at Japan. So the way to, prevent that decline is to bring in immigrants, right? And so the men of the dominant culture, they, get with immigrant girls and have children whose girls then become indoctrinated in the wokest womanist religion, who then don't have children and get taxed, but the boys then marry the new imported immigrants. And in doing this, you've created effectively a group of people that are just there for taxation purposes. They're miserable and alone, but they're an income that you can tax, an extra income that wouldn't have existed in the old world, quote unquote, that used to exist in, let's say, the 1950s. And it's extremely destructive, right? But the GDP increases, so who cares, right? I mean, at least that's what the conclusion seems to be.
Societies are crumbling right now because marital rates are dropping, birth rates are dropping, singleness is on the rise, and what you don't hear is you don't hear a lot of happiness. And what you tend to hear is, well, I got to do what I got to do from the woman's side, and I got to do what I got to do from the man's side. All right, cool. The difference for women and men is life starts making choices for you guys before it starts making choices for us. You at 29?
Yep.
29?
The danger zone.
Right. So, I mean...
She laughs like she thinks that the good times are never going to end. Yeah, you're at the end of your good times.
If you wanted more kids, how many more would you want?
Probably, realistically, 2. I mean,
Good luck.
I mean, at this point, another thing I have to accept is if I'm not with my child's father and I get with a man who wants kids with me, that's something I should be open-minded to, because it's like, you're gonna take care of my son, my son, but then you don't wanna have kids with me. Where is the trade-off? So I think realistically,
I don't understand.
yeah, I would at least want 1 to 2 children.
So you see, the new strategy for this girl has become, how can I rope a guy into raising another man's child? That's what it is, right? Oh, well, what will it take? Would it take having a kid with you? Would it take, you see what I'm saying?
This is why I'm such a fan of intentional dating and
marry before you carry,
because all this stuff becomes complicated, and I've been on both sides of it.
Yeah.
And I guess especially in our community, it's what are we going to look like as a community in 50 years?
What you're going to look like is no children to speak of.
Because
I don't know.
With the current bad decisions being made, again, it's really funny. Like, you fall for the womanist wokeist religion, and then what happens? Birth rates drop, so it's like what? Like, you get selected out of the gene pool? I don't know. Like, what's the plan here? Be strong and independent with 0 children?
Women, you're divorcing at twice the rate you marry. And
like Japan? Is that the goal?
And the marital rate in the black community is 30% and teetering. And when the baby boomers are gone, and it's like, we all tend to be sure about what it is for us. But at what point do we have responsibility to
the next
generation? Do we have responsibility to anybody else other than ourselves?
Yep.
Bum bum ba-dum.
No, we only care about ourselves, guys. That's all that's important. Family, who cares about that? It's just me. Brand of me.
Well,
I'm asking you.
Well, I can probably speak for everyone who's going to be watching this. I don't really think anyone gives a damn about what everyone else has going on.
Indeed.
As a society, what does this look like? I think that's just me being
honest. If that's the case, then we should stop talking about all this community and Black Lives Matter, and we should just be a bunch of individuals.
Indeed.
And just get with whoever we get with and do what we do.
I mean, that's kind of what's happening. I think people just like to fake the funk for social media, but I mean, the reality is if there was true unity.
Well, there's your solipsism. She's describing what she thinks.
We wouldn't have to
what do you think that
rally.
Do you think that comes from the men's side, or do you think that comes from the women's side?
With what? With rallying or what?
No, just faking the funk, doing what you want to do. Do you think women want to be married and have children and have a community more than men want to be married, have children and have a community?
Men want it more.
As a woman and as a woman of a friend of women, I can tell you the women are not talking about. I mean, it's like we all want it, but
You want it at the end of your party years, 32 plus, then you want it. But you want to have your cake and eat it too. You want fried ice. You want to live like a party girl and be wild and, sleep with Chad and have Chad's kids and then have, Brad come along and save you when you're 32 plus. That's what you want.
feels like the men,
It's the men's fault, yes.
might want marriage, but a lot of the same stories is, I get with a guy, I could see he's the one, I want a family with him, but he's a cheater. And that...
Yeah, because girls, especially in your community, are only choosing cheaters. You don't choose a good man. You choose the man that can have any girl, every girl. The man that chooses to have every girl is the only man chosen.
That's how a lot of, like I said, personally speaking, I'm not speaking for all the women who are watching, or men, but I know relationships...
Personally, that's what you've done. We get it.
And for other reasons, but a lot of my friends have been cheated on, and it's almost like your hand is forced to either then accept it or move on. And to be honest with you, I am not gonna sit here and act like I'm okay with putting my integrity, my self-respect on the line to be married.
This is what I think my show has done such a good idea. That has been the prevailing trope for the long. It has been, but you have 54% of black men who are single and childless. 16%, 30% of black men are married. So 84% of black men are responsible for 20% of children. 16% of black men, the remainder is responsible for the 80%.
So you see, the girls are selecting the same. The girls are selecting the same guys over and over, right? And then blaming it on the men. Well, no, you're making bad reproductive choices.
When women talk about men who are cheating on them, women are choosing to date and mate with the top 20% of men. Now, I can't complain because I'm in that group. But the way women speak about men is that this 20% or smaller is the entire group of men.
Exactly.
When you're not giving any of these other guys a second look.
Indeed.
How is it that men who have children with one woman end up having children with two, and you got 54% of men over here single and childless and 61% in the middle class? It's not the men who don't want relationships or marriage. It's women want relationships with a small group of men. And
only those men will do. And if that guy doesn't then choose to be monogamous with you, you divorce. Even though you chose a cheater. So, anyway.
There's a case that can be made, and women are trying to force demand onto a marketplace where guys are saying, why do I need to get married when I can have you? You can say what you want to about cheating, whatever. There'll be another one tomorrow. This is the demand go ahead.
This is what womanist, wokeist crap has done, actually.
Bye.
Well, but
great. And you think you're winning, but you're actually losing.
But how does this end for women though? When you end up, it sounds good to say bye-bye, but when you end up, when you push demand to the tippy top,
okay,
you end up having a generation of unmarried, unattached women to now women are starting to, single mothers. There was a story about 3 single mothers marrying each other.
Sorry.
Moving in a home and raising the kids together. And
I guess.
This is happening in Korea, Japan. Here's the net. We don't push relationship. We push, especially in the black community, we push business and entrepreneurialism and degrees and careers to our women in their prime years.
Yup. And then when they end up alone with cats and boxed wine, whose fault is it? The man.
When you ask the average black woman, hey, about getting married at 24, like, I'm too young for marriage. Like, really? No. So by the time it starts getting real, it's like, well, you're older, you're more experienced, you make more money. And naturally, it's like, well, the men you want men to have at least stuff on your level. And if we don't start being honest and talking about, many of our women say they want marriage or want marriage and kids and family, but they don't move like that with the majority of men. They don't move like, and black men are any. So it's not like in this case, black women are marrying any group of men. There's just so many black women are just single.
Mm-hmm.
All right, well, the world doesn't work that way. You can't be a single woman with a child. And unless you're in the top
You can't be a single woman with a child and expect a man to choose you.
10% of all earning women, that's just a formula that doesn't work.
But wasn't your mom a single mom? And she never married?
Oh
correct?
my God.
It's also a bunch of
That's a logical fallacy. It's the as Kevin Samuels says, your mama black.
different time. My mother grew up in a time where Social Security is in effect.
Okay.
The median, if you just look at the numbers, and my mom did get married at 50, matter of fact.
I know, but that also should give women hope too. She got married at
No, it shouldn't. You see, let's take one success example and generalize it to the population. Ridiculous. All right, let's end the video there. Hit the like, hit the sub, hit all for notifications. Drop me a donation like Hunter M, Adrian Tom, and Bobby, Dylan, Renaissance Press, Brian, and Andrew. Shoutouts to you. Most recent purchase of Strategist Guide to Seduction. Thank you. Go buy my books at bit.ly/heliosbooks. My Patreon is patreon.com/theheliosblog. Want me to help you out? Well, I have coaching. Message me at theheliosblog@gmail.com. That's my email. I'll slot you right in. Thank you so much for listening, guys, especially if you listen to the end. I really do appreciate it. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you next time.